You're watching OnFire-TV.com, featuring news, interviews, and entertainment. Broadcasting from Radio On Fire Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, here's your host, Diamond K.
Welcome back. You ain't Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on Fire-TV.com, OnFire-TV.com. Happy Monday to everybody. The year is fast escaping. I can't believe it's getting ready to be 2023. And a lot of things to get into, of course, a lot of things to dissect here. The January 6th committee. We're talking about some takeaways from that. This thing has been going on for a minute. A lot of people have lost interest in what's been happening with regards to the January 6th committee, but they have come to their conclusion. They have wrapped things up. They have approved criminal referrals that are targeting former President Trump and some of his cronies. So what does that mean? They have laid out a roadmap. They've recorded history, right? But there's no real penalties attached to this. This is a suggestion. So they set out to compile a public record for the history books. Of course, we're talking about the attack on the Capitol. U.S. Capitol attacked. But the final report has become so much more. So it's a roadmap to justice. Americans have to come to terms with the fact that Donald Trump, and some of them may not be, some of them may not have accepted the fact that Donald Trump tried to overturn the presidential election because he did not win. So the panel unanimously made 4 criminal referrals today against former President Trump for his role in what they're calling a multi-part conspiracy. So that started with his lies about a stolen election and ended with the mob siege on the Capitol. It is sending recommendations to the Department of Justice, which is already conducting its own probe. Now, you're going to have some people that say, oh, they shouldn't have said nothing. Now, the Department of Justice is not going to be, look, whatever. Anybody who looked at the facts of this case had to come to this conclusion. Anybody who looked at the facts of this case had to come to this conclusion. So in adopting its final report, the panel also recommended a congressional ethics investigation for House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy and some other members of Congress. Of course, they defied the congressional subpoenas. You or I, of course, we cannot defy any subpoenas. What's going on, Brother Nance? We need to chop it up, man. Get this Peace and Power Hour going for the top of the year. Definitely hit me up. Now, McCarthy and other members of Congress defied the subpoenas. They basically said, we're not even going to entertain the subpoenas. As I said, any other American, they defy a subpoena of this magnitude. Any subpoena, you're going to have major problems. So the committee, nearing the end of its work, I'm looking forward to seeing the report, the final report. Of course, we have every confidence that the work of this committee will help provide a roadmap to justice. One man caused the January 6th insurrection. Over an 18-month investigation, the panel laid out the evidence that the attack on the Capitol was not some spontaneous protest. It was not something that just happened matter of factly. No, none of those things are true. What happened on January the 6th was an orchestrated scheme by Donald Trump. And what was he trying to do? He was trying to overturn the election that he lost, take the L. No, he couldn't take the L. He could not take the L, refused to take the L. Now look at him. Now look at him. And I don't want you to let these Republicans off the hook, because you may hear a lot of Republicans now talking about they're trying to push Trump out of the party. They're trying to, cut ties with him. They're only doing it because it's politically, expedient for them. It makes sense for them to do it, so they're doing it. But we can't let them off the hook. Many of them co-signed the election lies. Many of them co-signed the insurrection attempts running in the Capitol and all that. They co-signed it. And the American people have made them pay by way of losing elections. But there's a lot of people who are still in the Capitol right now that need to go. It just so happens that their election, their terms weren't up yet. It wasn't time for them. Trump urged supporters to come out to Washington for a big rally. Remember that? He was whipping the supporters, whipping them up. Had the big speech outside the White House. Knew that some of them were armed. What's up, Big Bree? Knew that some of them were armed. Told them that they needed to fight like hell for his presidency. They need to fight like hell for his presidency. Oh, the nerve of this bomber clot. He claimed that he was going to join them at the Capitol, which he did not. He sat home and watched it on TV. Trump stroked theories from this loser lawyer, John Eastman, to come up with the alternative slate of electors. Fraud. You or I do this fraud. Oh, it's major problems. This guy running around, frauds are us. Eastman also faces a criminal referral by the committee. Now, the Justice Department may or may not take them up on this. They may or may not do it. But let the record show that the referral was put out there. The central cause of January 6th was one man, Donald Trump. Many people followed him. None of the events that happened on January the 6th would have happened without the clown Donald Trump. None of it. No ringleader should get a pass. None. This ringleader, this former president, should not get a pass. More than 800 people have been charged in the attack on the Capitol. Imagine if Black Lives Matter ran up in the Capitol after Al Sharpton revved them up. Oh, it would be consequences and repercussions, wouldn't it? Imagine if the Nation of Islam ran up in the Capitol after Farrakhan revved them up. Oh, it would have been consequences and repercussions. And Donald Trump revved up these MAGA folks. There need to be consequences and repercussions, not only for the followers, but for the person who made the call. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show. Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, many other Americans stormed the Capitol that day. Talking about they want to stop the steal. Donald Trump is the thief. Donald Trump is the scammer. He's still trying to scam. He's still scamming the MAGA folks. Some Trump trading cards. Whole bunch of nonsense. Whole bunch of nonsense. Oh, yeah, but I got time for it. I got time for it today. A lot of events coming up. Of course, the Christmas Day parties are free admission, open bar, small buffet, free all night long. A lot of DJs on the list: K. Austin, Terry T, DJ Biscuit, Tommy Davis, Casper Bernstein. That is going down, as I said, Christmas Day, 6 p.m. until at the Smooth Flicks Banquet Hall, 12 South Calvert Street, downtown Baltimore. They got valet service and all of that good stuff. So make sure if you want to party on Christmas Day, 6 p.m. until, you come on out. Smooth Flicks, shout out to everybody over there. A lot of events coming up. Grown and Sexy Valentine's Day Gala goes down Friday, February the 10th, 9 p.m. at the Cellar 2 in Parkville, 7631 Hartford Road. As I said, Parkville, Maryland. DJ, cash bar, on-site photography, dinner. Dress code is formal. $75 per couple, $50 for a single. That is the Grown and Sexy Valentine's Day Gala. More information, contact 443-453-8584. It is the Grown and Sexy Valentine's Day Gala. Also, the Entrepreneur Ball goes down Saturday, January the 7th, 2023, 7 until 12 p.m. The ultimate after holiday party. You got the dress code. They want you to wear black and red, right? And this is like a glam type of thing. This goes down in Bowie. So more information on that, you can hit up Eventbrite. Also, the City, State, and Waterfront Workers Reunion goes down February the 4th, 2023, 9 p.m. until 2 a.m. at the Patapsco Arena. They say that we are one. All right, tickets on sale right now. The City, State, and Waterfront Workers Reunion. And last thing, Saturday, February the 18th, Patapsco Arena, the West Baltimore Reunion, Frank Ski, and a host of Baltimore's hottest DJs, Terry T, Kenny K, Sean Marshall, DJ Booby, Hot Toddy, DJ Exclusive, Mr. Incredible, all going to be at the Patapsco Arena, February the 18th, 3301 Annapolis Road in Baltimore. Tickets for that is available now. A lot of big things coming up. And of course, you need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. djdiamondk@gmail.com. So some of them said none of them were armed, you clown. Okay, so I guess the gentleman is referring to the insurrectionist that destroyed the Capitol. So because none of them had a gun in the Capitol, that means what exactly? I mean, you talk about clowns, but what are you talking about? All right, bring his comment back on the screen. So this guy says none of the insurrectionists were armed. So that exactly means what? What does that mean? When you say that they weren't armed, you mean they weren't armed with a gun? You mean they weren't armed with a bow and arrow? They were armed with a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are weapons. A lot of things that are weapons. A lot of the police, the Capitol Police that were injured would say something different than what you're saying. But you're not a patriot. You're not a supporter. You're not a true American if you think like this. All right? You want to talk about clowns? You, sir, are the ultimate clown. Now, like I said, you're going to have people that are still brainwashed from the lies and foolishness of Donald Trump. I don't know whether they're sharing a brain with somebody else and they just don't understand. Trump is at the lowest point ever on the heels of this report. McCarthy and other lawmakers, I'm sure, are not feeling themselves today. I'm sure that they're not feeling themselves. But let us move on. So, social media. We have social media. Folks talk about things. Folks share personal things on social media. Now, many of you longtime listeners will know that I was the first DJ in the DMV playing Master P, No Limit, Cash Money in this area in the 90s. And so I'm big fans of No Limit Records, big fans of the Miller Boys, the Miller family, Percy Miller, Romeo, and such. And sadly, the last few days, we have seen a lot of this family's personal gripes splashed on social media. A lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of hostility that we have seen on full display. And every family has their stuff, right? Every family has uh, problems, right? Every family has problems. And so I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing when these spats come to surface. Sometimes it takes these public displays for things to really get addressed, because you get other people involved that will say, hey, you need to talk to your homeboy. You need to talk to your son. You need to talk to your father, XYZ. And these things come about because of the public displays. I mean, I wish that 50 Cent and his oldest could get together. Maybe one day they can. But we've had some artists. We'll get to Bow Wow. We'll get to Bow Wow in a minute. But obviously, we know that DJ Twitch passed away. And there was a post by Romeo, who is the son of Master P, where he calls out, quote unquote, calls out his father for ignoring, according to him, his sister's mental health issues, but speaking out on the struggles of DJ Twitch, who committed suicide last week. So Tatiana Miller, Master P's daughter and Romeo's sister, died in May, the age of 29, accidental fentanyl overdose. So on Friday, son of Master P posted on social media, today was a boiling point. I seen a man avoid his own children's struggle with suicide and depression, but post another man whom passed today that he doesn't even know. Y'all idols be lost. Better stop following the blind. Watch when it's revealed. Yeah, so that was a lot, right? And you might have been scrolling social media and you're like, what is going on with little Romeo? Why is he taking these shots at his father? Why? So you had that happen. And before many folks on social media had time to fully digest it, the next day, Romeo continued to take aim at his father in the form of a poem he posted on IG called The Tree of Trauma. In the caption, he wrote a poem because poetry is one of the most powerful forms of therapy. Let's educate and break these cycles together. Your mental health is just like a muscle that needs to be built and treated, he said. He continued, the next generation will go stronger because of our truths, and a man of God, I know minds will one day. The Tree of Trauma. Now, throughout this poem, Romeo asked a series of questions including why is it that you can't take the same heat as our mother can? Why do you feel the need to promote and hold a product on every interview just to validate your worth? Don't the people see that? And how come it took my daughter being born to finally realize that we have blindly been feeding the enemy? Oh, there's so much going on here. So much going on here. Now, while I am, I don't have any problem with folks, especially entertainers, public figures, bringing some of this stuff to social media. But there is a limit. Like, I know that there's no limit records, but there is a limit to some of this. And I knew that after a certain point, Master P was going to have to say something. So after Romeo's post about the poem, the cuffs were off, and the two went back and forth in the comment section of Master P's IG. And P said something that I thought was, I didn't have a problem with. He said that this new generation of kids need to stop blaming their parents for everything. How do they think they got to where they are without their parents making sacrifices for them? Mental illness is real, and so many families are tragically affected by it, especially when there is added trauma like the death of a loved one. That is true. That is true. So we're seeing two family members, a father and a son, both of them clearly still in pain, both of them with some issues that they need to work on with each other. Master P said later, son, I love you. Stop trying to get people to feel sorry for you, and let's come up with a solution. You can come talk to your father and your family like a man. You have kids too. No family is perfect, but together with God, we can heal and get through this. But the two continue to go back and forth. P said he wouldn't tolerate disrespect, and I think there was a lot of disrespect that was thrown by Romeo. There were some allegations made. There was a lot. There was a lot. Romeo claimed that his father has not been willing to talk about family issues and is addicted to social media. Master P doesn't post that much, but he said he's addicted to social media. He later added that he's never been paid for anything while he was making music under No Limit. And this is the part I really don't like, right? So they're going to, at least Romeo wants to unpack and pull the lid back and talk about finances. Of course, that led Master P to say this is really about money. I thought this was supposed to be about the death of your sister, about mental health. Now we're talking about money. When it comes to addressing issues with celebrity families, some people think that it's best to address those issues in private, not public. But you're a public figure, and things spill over into the public. And I think that a lot of times these celebrities, these public figures, their struggles can be teachable moments for all of us. I know that it can be difficult because the camera's always up. People are always going to see, but when you show so much of your life and you say, oh no, I don't want you to see that. I don't want you to see this part. No, I mean, we're going to see it. We're going to see it. I really don't like the feud between 50 Cent and his son. But some problems at a certain point, like I think that you can kind of, especially when you have unpacked a little bit of it and people see, if you're talking behind the scenes, I think that people need to know a little bit. They don't have to know every little detail, but you show them some. So you at least show them when there's a conclusion. But definitely therapy. So they need to sit down and talk. They need to sit down and talk. And I hope that they do. Master P had 9 children. A lot of times we talk about you know, Nick Cannon and the such, but Master P, 9 kids, his own self, right? That's a lot of work that needs to be done. And how and when Master P and Romeo sit down, we may or may not be privy to that, but something tells me we will know. Now, Jermaine Dupri and Bow Wow have had this weird back and forth, up and down, in and out kind of relationship. But anybody that knows anything knows that Jermaine Dupri was very instrumental in the promotion of Bow Wow. Very instrumental in that. And over the weekend, well, maybe sometime last week, Jermaine Dupri talked about pitching the idea of 106 in Park to BET, and that, you know, it was supposed to be a vehicle for Bow Wow, and it was an answer to TRL. All right, so that was a live video show that MTV had, and 106 in Park is the hip hop R&B equivalent. And Jermaine Dupri says that he pitched that idea. And then, you know, whatever it was called, and Bow Wow basically called him a liar, which I think is disrespectful. Now, Bow Wow, you know, he's a little kid at this time, a young teenager or, you know, young adult, and he's not in on all these conversations. So he doesn't know, but very easily somebody of Jermaine Dupri's stature, who he's done this since then, pitched ideas for shows. So Jermaine Dupri says, hey, to someone, you know, at BET, behind the scenes, we need to have a hip hop version of TRL, and let's get Bow Wow to be the host. And they come up with a show, and Bow Wow's not the host, but later on, Bow Wow does become the host, right? They pitch the show. Jermaine Dupri's not involved in the show. They pitch the show. They do the show. So years later, Jermaine Dupri says this: why would you, as Bow Wow, why would you call him a liar? Just because you don't know doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It doesn't mean that. And I don't understand why folks are so acting like what JD is saying is so far-fetched. People pitch shows all the time, and then the networks come and take the show and run with it. Plenty of times this happens. But very similar to Romeo and Master P, Bow Wow, who is at many times in his career called Jermaine Dupri his father, speaking publicly, calling your father a liar, calling the person who put you on a liar publicly, that's crazy. Even if you have an issue with him, publicly calling him a liar, oh man, I don't think there's too many more things that you can do to be more disrespectful. There's not a lot more that you could do to be disrespectful. So the brat who got some hands, right? She kind of checked Bow Wow, challenged him to a fade, told him to pull up. The brat told Bow Wow to pull up because he was talking out the side of his neck about Jermaine Dupri. What is going on in hip hop? What is going on in hip hop? I don't know. I think I got my money on the brat on that one if they was to have a boxing match. I don't know. But definitely just tuning in. It's the Diamond K Show here on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com. And we're talking about a lot of the craziness that has been happening. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with more of the show after this.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
You're watching OnFire-TV.com, featuring news, interviews, and entertainment. Broadcasting from Radio On Fire Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, here's your host, Diamond K.
Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, just search the Diamond K Show. So I don't know if y'all remember this flashy bling bishop, Lamar Whitehead. You remember him? He's the one that was robbed on camera on a live stream. You remember that? Real flashy guy. He has been busted by feds today on charges that he swindled retired, churchgoers out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, you remember that headline grabbing incident where he was both accused and the victim. Whitehead once again in the spotlight. As I said, feds have accused him of fraud, extortion, making false statements to the FBI about business deals with members of his church. Lamar Whitehead abused the trust placed in him by the churchgoers, bullied a businessman for $5,000, then tried to defraud him of far more than that and lied to the feds. The U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said after his arrest, his campaign of fraud and deceit stops now. You remember he was robbed on gunpoint on camera of $1 million in flashy jewelry, delivering a sermon in his church in Brooklyn. He's 45 years old, and he counts New York City Mayor Eric Adams among his friends. He is a little more than a false prophet who took advantage of men and women who sought his financial guidance and spiritual guidance. Wow, that's what the feds are saying about this guy. So he is the leader of this church, and it is called the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministry. He sought money and other things of value from victims based on threats and false promises that the victims' investments would benefit the victims financially, according to the prosecutors. In one instance, Whitehead convinced one of his parishioners to invest nearly $90,000 of her retirement savings with him. And of course, she did it because, she believed in the Lord, and that's what he told her to do. He told her that's what she was supposed to do. He extorted a businessman for $5,000, then attempted to convince him to lend him $500,000 and give him a stake in a real estate transaction in return for favorable actions from the New York City government, which Whitehead knew that he could not make happen. Whitehead even lied to the FBI, according to the authorities. When agents executed a search warrant, Whitehead told them that he had no cell phones other than the phone that he was carrying. Oh, yeah. I mean, Donald Trump lies to authorities all the time. Donald Trump lies to authorities all the time. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Now, the truth is that Whitehead owned a second phone, which he regularly used to communicate. He even used the second phone to send a text message describing it as my other phone shortly after telling agents that he had no other phones. So this guy is a fool. This guy, it clearly is a fool. I'm sure that he had to know that they was going to catch it. Maybe he thought that the Lord was going to give him a sign. Lord, give me a sign. A spokesperson for the SDNY Southern District of New York said that Whitehead was expected to be presented in Manhattan federal court this afternoon. He is charged with 2 counts of wire fraud, each of which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. one count of extortion, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, and one count of making false statements, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years. I will say this. He is not going to be in church this week. He is not going to be in church this week. So it's so crazy. It's so crazy when you think about it. So crazy. This is someone who folks entrust with their salvation. And you can't even trust this guy to tell you how many phones he has. You can't trust him to tell you how many phones that he has. I just think that it is so important for folks to pay attention who you follow and who they are. Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com. So Elon Musk, he polled Twitter on whether or not he should step down as CEO. Most voters said yes. Oh, this guy is he is so stuck on himself, and he's really bad for business. If you're invested in Tesla, you're invested in SpaceX, this whole debacle that he is doing with regards to Twitter is costing you money. He posted a poll, an informal poll yesterday, asking users on the platform if he should step down as CEO. Musk claimed that he would abide by the results of the poll, but it is unclear as to whether or not he's going to actually do it. I mean, it would be nice if he did. That's for daggone sure. The poll closed this morning, and the majority of the respondents called for the billionaire to leave his post. Twitter's new owner and CEO, Elon Musk, he should go. I mean, he's definitely bad for business. As I said, Musk claimed that he would abide by the results of the poll, but it's definitely unclear if he'll actually do so. Shares of Tesla, another one of Musk's companies, closed down less than 1% today. So we'll see what happens. But Twitter has definitely gone down over the years. Even before this, but the amount of bad press that Twitter has gotten is I don't know. It is unbelievable. I'm not deleting my Twitter page just yet. I never posted on there a whole lot, but I do use it, and it is a quick place where you can just catch up on stuff, catch up on news and the such. You can do that really, really easy on Twitter. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna kind of wait and see. But for him to be this conservative, whatever, there are a lot of liberals who own Teslas. Most liberal people, Democrats, are usually the ones that are buying electric cars. So the amount of vitriol that he has for Democrats and people on the left is so interesting, considering that he has such a big business that sells to the same people. So what it has done is it has brought to the attention and to the forefront many folks that buy electric car, Tesla specifically, and it makes them not want to have a Tesla. It's already high price. They're like, if I want to get an electric car, maybe I'll get it from somebody else as opposed to this clown, Elon Musk. And maybe he's finally figuring that out. If you sell cars, you don't need to be out there loud and proud with your political affiliations, because you need to sell cars to everybody, not just Republicans who don't even want an electric car in the first place. I'm just saying. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. with more of the program. A lot of things going on this week. Of course, this is a holiday week, so I'm excited about that. We have a lot of big announcements coming for the top of the year, so definitely look out for that.
On Fire TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move. It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, Argh.
On firetv.com.
The defense wanted to call a forensic accountant. And this accountant is supposed to testify that Mosby's net worth declined by at least 30% in the spring of 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh, and the prosecution hates that. See, because here's my thing. Every business was affected by COVID, unless your business was to spread COVID. So the prosecution's like, oh, no, she's going to actually prove her case. We don't want this to happen. We don't want any testimony from this witness. So they didn't want the testimony. Of course, this at the core is her defense. Mosby had a travel-related business. The travel industry was impacted severely by COVID.
It's the Diamond K Show. Hear it on firetv.com.